Coming up on Look Today. Well, the second week of the Saratoga Horse Show sets a new record. I've got details. And workers continue to strike against Verizon. More on that coming up. And a 4-hour-long standoff between the police and a man in a house in Queensbury. I've got those details, and it's all ahead on Look Today. Welcome everyone, I'm Jay Hood Jackson, and this is Look Today. Well, in tonight's program, I sit down with Chad Rabinovitz. He's the producing artistic director of the Adirondack Theater Festival. He's here to talk about the upcoming summer theater season. Very exciting season. And I also sit down with Lori LaFawn. Well, she's the president and director of the Friends of the Washington County Grasslands Important Bird Area. Try saying that 3 times fast. And she's here to talk about the upcoming Raptor Fest, which is going to happen this weekend. Plus, we've got your weather for the Tri-North counties. But first, we've got these headline stories. Well, in our lead story, well, today marks the second week of the Saratoga Horse Show on the Auto Grounds in Saratoga Springs. Well, the estimated number of entries by the second week was supposed to be around 550 horses. Now, that was surpassed by a sold-out total of 580. Now, this total, of course, sets a new record. Well, with more than $300,000 in prize money, the show is run as a fundraiser by the Capital Fund of Saratoga County, and all proceeds go to the charities throughout the region. Well, we spoke to the president and CEO of the Capital Fund, Thomas Fuston, about the different charities.
We're doing this now. I said this will be our 5th year coming up. In the past 4 years, we've helped almost 60 different charities, from food kitchens to hospices to domestic violence groups to serious illness support groups, cancer awareness. There's a whole series of them that we've been helping out. Rebuilding Together Saratoga is one of them. Center for the Family. The list goes on and on.
In other news, well, CWA union members continue to strike against Verizon. Now, around a month ago, more than 36,000 Verizon workers walked off their job in protest of outsourcing jobs and contracting non-union, low-wage workers. The negotiations between Verizon and the unions has not yet yielded any results that would end this strike. Well, Verizon put forth what they call their best and final offer. Now, this included a 7.5% increase in wages and protection from layoffs. However, Verizon continues to employ lower-wage non-union contractors. Well, we spoke to CWA member Mike Okonski about the strike.
We're the ones that built this company and just want what we have and don't want to have our jobs shipped overseas and forced to move away from home to another location or forced out of town for 60 days at a clip where you can't see your family. And we want to go home every night and see our families.
As many of you know who follow this program, we've been following this strike and talking to the strikers. We'll continue to bring you news on this as we receive it. Switching from news to weather. Well, today was another beautiful day of spring weather. Let's see how the rest of the week is shaping up. For a more detailed look at our weather, we're going to head to the Glens Falls Weather Center for a look at your first forecast. Back to the news. Well, we got a report recently that police were called last night to a home on Holden Avenue in Queensbury. Well, a man had barricaded himself inside his house. The police blocked the street off and used megaphones to call him out. And the standoff, by the way, lasted about 4 hours. Well, eventually the man came out at about 2:30 a.m. The police have not yet released any information as to what led to his arrest. Thankfully, there were no injuries. We'll keep you updated as we get more info on this as well. In other news, we've got an update on the pending town hall move in Hudson Falls. And when the town hall in Hudson Falls does finally move to its new location, the courtroom will return to the former courthouse building. Now, the village had a contract to purchase that building for $300,000, which would have expired on June 1st. Well, under a new plan, the village now has an additional 2 years to come up with the funding. Now, as you know, once the town hall is moved, renovations on the Strand Theater can begin. Up next, I sit down with Chad Rabinovitz. He's the producing artistic director of the Adirondack Theater Festival. He's here to talk about the exciting upcoming summer season. Plus, I also sit down with Lori LaFond. She's the president and director of the Friends of the Washington County Grasslands Important Bird Area, and she's here to talk about the upcoming Raptor Fest, which is happening this weekend at the Washington Fairgrounds. But first, if you see news happening, you want to share a story idea, how about join us for an interview? Give us a call on the hotline. The number is 798-8000. Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of Look Today. I've got a couple of lookouts tonight. First one goes to John Strow and the other supervisors, Queensbury Town Board meeting. This week's meeting had a very lively discussion about whether or not the community is best served by a legislative form of government or a supervisor form of government. And it's going to be a story that we're going to follow and get John on and other people to talk about this. But hats off to them for having this conversation. And you can catch the Queensbury Town Board meeting here on Look TV. Check your local listings. And the other one's a little out of the ordinary for us. But I happened to catch a story on PBS last night that really struck me. A assisted living and nursing home in California, instead of doing an addition with a swimming pool or something like that, they added an addition of a daycare center. And the whole purpose was to connect children under the age of 5 with seniors over the age of 75. And it's just a remarkable idea, something that they do in Europe, but something that we might consider here in the United States. The young ones get to learn the respect and a sense of what it's like if you're older, and the senior citizens get a sense of life by being connected to these wonderfully interesting and charming young children. So I told you that was a little unusual for us. Okay, tonight on Look TV, it's a Saratoga City Council meeting. That's always a good one. And don't forget, tune in tomorrow night for the stories that matter to you. Good night, everyone.